well. I'm obsessed with like how you can harmonize a melody to just like add a few notes here and there just to make it sound even more lush. Lush is something we're going for. We gave up on getting people to headbang, and now we want to melt people's hearts.
Hey, it's Ethan with the opening act. You're watching my full interview with UK prog rock band Fractions. Hope you enjoy.
I'm Joel, and I play keys in Fractions. I am a piano teacher based in South London, and Fractions has been my baby from the beginning.
I'm Will. I play bass in Fractions. I'm a musician and a visual artist based in Leicester in the UK, so it's just north of London. Founded Fractions with Joel in, when was it? 2011?
Somewhere around there. So basically, We went to university together to study music. We went to Southampton, which is like a little city on the south coast of England. And it was like the first induction day for our year, the whole music department. And I had to sit next to this pretentious twat. I won't name names, but very insecure, but arrogant at the same time. He was driving me nuts. And eventually I was just like, who likes metal? And then Will was like, yeah. and that was the start of our friendship, basically.
So it sounds like you guys started as a little bit more of a metalcore band, and now you guys have transitioned into whatever you would call yourselves now. What would you call yourselves now in terms of your genre?
I guess we'd be instrumental prog trio, or even just the piano trio. I mean, there are hints of prog. There are still hints of metal in there, obviously, because we've come very much from that scene. Hints of jazz. A bit of funk, a bit of neo soul. We all have like varying tastes within the band, and I think this new direction like speaks to that a bit more.
This new sound that you've got is a pretty stark shift from what it used to be. So can you speak to sort of what inspired that change?
Sure. There were creative reasons for sure. We wanted to go instrumental and mellow out. I'd kind of given up on doing like harsh vocals because I couldn't quite get the technique down, and I feared that I was going to damage my voice. There was also the practicality of organizing rehearsals with 5 different people's schedules was really a nightmare.
That's true, yeah.
Because we've got those limitations of being a 3-piece now, we decided that would be actually good, because then we have to be creative. Like Will has to explore the higher part of the bass, and I've got to kind of do the work of 2 guitarists. There's a pianist called Tigran Hamasyan that me and Ross and Will, we're all obsessed with his stuff.
Oh my goodness! If you haven't checked it out yet, I think I would definitely recommend.
Armenian jazz pianist who he kind of his roots are in Armenian folk music, but he's also openly admitted that he's influenced by like Meshuggah. So it's almost like it's coming at the piano from the angle of like a metal guitarist. That was kind of like the biggest inspiration if I had to narrow it down to one artist.
It took some convincing, just because we were so used to like a bigger sound, and there was other factors as well, like, you know, we had a little bit, like, we don't have a huge fan base, but we had a little bit of a fan base by that point. Was it too much of a tangent to go off? And so we had loads of considerations to make. So it was a lot of umming and ahhing, and then after, 3 years, we decided to stick it out there, yeah.
Nice.
So we recorded this EP in October 2019, so like light years ago now. But we picked a studio in particular just because we were desperate to get live drums, because too many, for this especially, we had to have a really nice sounding kit. And Ross's playing is too good, and there's too many little nuances to it. We could not program it. So we all recorded in the same studio, like keys, Bass was sort of, we had a mixture of DI and through the amp.
We wanted to kind of do the opposite of what a lot of metal bands are doing. This is no one in particular, it's just a general trend I've noticed in like the modern metal scene, is just like too many bands have songs without dynamics, where everything's loud from start to finish. You still have a heavy track with dynamics, but like literally just one level, like all the way through. So we really wanted to like approach it from the opposite end, where most of the stuff is soft, but then occasionally you get the big moments, and because you've been teased and you've had to wait for it, it feels more satisfying when you get them. I think the notion of something being heavy isn't necessarily about how intense that section is. It's about the way you frame it within like the compositional structure. I deliberately used like a lot of repetition, but always vary it. So the music's always driving forward. We never like exactly repeat a section. There'll always be like some little change that happens. So a bit like
very
life,
annoying when you're trying to learn it. We made sure everything was worked out in the rehearsal room before we even, before we recorded. We spent, I would say, about a year drilling the tracks. So we wanted the tracks to kind of bring a bit of that live feel in there as well. Like, so you can clearly hear there are 3 musicians playing.
Thank you so much for watching my full interview with Fractions. Be sure to support the band via the links in the description. And if you're new here, you can check out some of my other videos if you're interested in finding more cool bands that I think you should be listening to. Finally, go ahead and like and subscribe if you want to help me grow the channel so that I can come into contact with more awesome artists to introduce to you guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see y'all next time.